In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. The time has come for another lecture, and there's something about this lecture where I feel like I've already given it, which I will explain. It has to do with the theme and the title of the lecture. I don't know if the viewers can hear the background noise. There's construction going on, probably not audible, but hopefully the background ambient sound is audible. So, dear viewers, I'll begin like this by saying that the title of today's lecture had a nostalgia for me. Dreams of Forgotten Lives. Now, this is a very, I want to say, tricky, but at the same time, interesting yet difficult topic to bring up, especially based on who I am. So, I'll just start the climb and we'll see where we go with this lecture. So first thing, I am Muslim. I believe there's a system admin beyond the world room. I believe that we're in a simulated testing zone. I believe a lot of reality acts like it's programmed. And belief in God is equivalent to the belief in the system admin of an existential simulated system. Now, by being Muslim, I don't believe in past lives. If a bunch of spiritual people came up to me and they're like, yo, who were you in your past life? I'd be like, if you asked me before 2023, I'd have answers for you. But now, if I was asked right now in 2025, I will tell you that there is one Islamic explanation that I opt into, I believe. And it is, I guess, for those who have a fascination and awe for a power beyond them. But anyways, as a Muslim, I do not believe in past lives, but if they ask me, where were you before this life? There are hadiths and pointers that before all the souls we see here, before they all appeared here, before anybody was born, they were in a realm called Alam al-Arwa, which translates into the world of the souls. Now, what's interesting is we're living in a secular world. The supernatural components are kept valid through the religious lens, the religious view. As a Muslim, even though you're not, the point of life is not to touch the unseen, or to figure out what your soul really is, which is unknowable. In the Islamic sense, from an Islamic sense, I will tell you that before this life, before we were born in the womb, we were in this, again, this place called Alam al-Arwa, the world of souls. Souls in this realm had ranks. Souls of the same ranks could know each other. Souls that were not of the same rank could be misplaced in the world, even though to themselves misplaced, not to the overall. And souls were there, and then they come here. And if you want to, at least so far to my understanding, Islamically, what happens after a person dies, the test of life begins, and there are even questions asked, as if, do you know who the system admin was? Do you know who, in some sense, brought the awareness to the system admin to man? Do you know? So if somebody's like, yo man, you're someone who talks deep, so how deeply do you see yourself, for example, after this life? The first answer is obviously I don't know, because there's a higher power at work here. But so far, through my understanding, there is a realm called Barzakh. Now, if you were Tibetan Buddhist, you would call this Bardo. I don't know what the Christian equivalent would be, but it is in some sense like a between world. So what happens is, even though your body is dead, you are found in the between world, in the Barzakh, and the consequences of your immediate life, I think, find you also. But the point of it is that, think of it this way, there's the death of humans, but then there's the death of the world. And so there's this, it's a bit of a startling idea, but it's this notion that beings who've died, it's not like they are resurrecting and reincarnating as other people. They are, in some sense, they wait till the end of days in their grave, or in the Barzakh, in the Bardo, okay? Now, you got to understand, Islam, it is in the Holy Book, the Holy Quran. It says this is a book for those who believe in the unseen. If you don't believe in the unseen, if you are satisfied with what you've seen so far and are convinced this is it, thank you. I just read the chat. Thank you, guys. You know, I appreciate the attention. I wish I knew how to be like a next level, you know, I guess, entertainer or something, you know, to have, you know. But anyways, I'm just going to go through with this, guys. The idea is too important. Dreams of forgotten lives. A human being on this earth has dared speak about this topic, and that human is Muslim, and is trying to explain to you the difficulty of talking about that, you know? So anyways, where I'm going with this, I consider I think it's fair to say, not with deep belief, but if I was to classify life there, I'm like, yo guys, there is an afterlife, there was a before life, and there is a now life, okay? And people are gonna be like, yo man, who were you before this life? Who are you gonna be after this life? What's gonna even happen? You know, are we more than just a bunch of scared creatures that started storytelling over the unknown because they didn't know what to do with it? First of all, guys, religion is not a laughing matter. I'm laughing at just our existential situation, but there's a value to religion that I don't know why. Maybe I have strange eyes that can see it that way, do you know? But I guess I also have a microphone to communicate it. See, where I'm going with this is, as a Muslim, I do not believe in past lives, but I do believe in the continuity of the soul, and I do believe in after this life activity that will take place, okay? But I also want to give justice to the human mind, and really the question of a forgotten life, dream of a forgotten life. The way the reason I said that title, honestly, is because I was just thinking, how many different lives has my mind fathomed that it can live, or has lived internally, but externally has not? And it's the question of the boundaries of life experience. Do you know what that means? That means if I tell you, visualize you're an astronaut walking on the moon or walking on Mars, you're obviously on Earth. We don't have technology to go to Mars yet, okay? And so you cannot it's not like in a real way, you cannot live that life. But if I tell you to visualize, that is like your mind attempting to live a life that is not real. Okay? I think that's very important to pay attention to this. Our minds, our intelligence as beings puts an effort, the same amount of effort it puts for the real, it puts for the unreal. You think you're going about your day just seeing reality, just thinking this is what it is. But you don't know what percentage of what you think is normal is unreal. It's like a ridiculous percentage. I'll give you an example. Like you right now think I'm real, yeah, because I'm a physical, biological organism talking into a microphone. But any other thought you have beyond that, how real is it? You know, I can see somebody write something in the chat section. Yes, you're a human typing on a keyboard. But any other thing I think about you is more a testament to me than you. The dreams of forgotten lives is the ability of our intelligence to fathom parallel lifehood. You know, one thing I will 100% speak about, okay, and it doesn't even have to be spiritual or theological, it's just an ability. God has created man. This soul has entered this world through this format, through this body. Your body is a type of information that is static. If your body was changing as fast as your thoughts, you'd probably be a shapeshifter or you'd be nothing at all. And right now, as much as my sci-fi mind can fathom, in the future there may be shape-shifting technology. And then what would being beautiful, ugly, being natural, unnatural mean? Right? Imagine there was a button you could press and you could legit physically through nanotechnology, every cell of your being shapeshifts into something else. Your height, everything. Then at that point, there would be no game to play. Do you understand? When everybody's the perfect player, there is no game to play. You always need noobs. You always need people who don't see. A lot of human beings are fulfilling not just meaningful roles, but, you know, meaningless roles. You know, we need fools. Okay, fools are a necessity in life. You know, even the most advanced, smartest, capable people, they're going to have fools in their life. Okay, this is something that everybody needs to be prepared for. There's going to be fools in your life, and you're going to be a fool in other people's lives as well. This is something everybody goes through. It's a part of growing up, part of realizing the limits of our ability. When I was young, I had many forgotten lives. I wanted to be a soccer player. I remember I was obsessed at watching Ronaldinho. It started with Ronaldinho, and then it went to Cristiano Ronaldo, you know? And then Quaresma. And then I was part of that school. Like I was, before Messi was like who he really is, you know, I was like a Cristiano Ronaldo fan when he was in Manchester United. And then for some reason, I liked the colors of Inter Milan, and I just became a fan of Inter Milan. But I'm telling you, when I was young, in my mind, I was living in accordance to different parallel lives. Right now, I'm 33. When I was 11, I wanted to be a soccer player. I was very good at soccer, and I was very fast, like ridiculous, like sprinting, you know? To the degree I was fast when I was younger, that I would run faster than like my attention was faster than my running. I don't know how to say it. It's like it would slow down. Things would slow down. That's how fast I would run, you know. I'm not bragging, guys. I'm being serious. I had sport asthma. I could just run for 20 minutes. anytime I got the ball, it was like no time to pass, just complete the goal, you know. But anyways, when I was 11, I had a parallel life of seeing myself as a soccer player. I saw myself doing backflips. You know, I went to, when I was young, I went to this like football court where there was this like just this one piece of metal that was a goal post, you know, and I would just practice the Rabona until once I hit the Rabona, and then there was somebody who was like, yo, can you do that again? Yeah. But anyways, where I'm going with this is I'm saying that technically we have lived many internal lives. My mind has seen itself in various ways. You know, there was a time I fathomed what the worst version of me would look like and what the best version of me would look like. I tried to imagine it, even though you can never 100%, but and I'm telling you, it's becoming obvious, clear to me, and I want you to hear this lecture, like this topic I'm talking about, from this context, that the dreams of forgotten lives are how reality moved forward behind our eyes, even though in front of it, it moved forward differently. So really, if you wanted to think about like the whole, like imagine somebody came and asked this question, how many types of lives are being lived? Just to zoom in on the human. I am that human being telling you we are all living internal lives at a faster pace, and we select out of these internal living options. So every day of your life, think of it, you have access to external reality, you have access to internal reality. Internal reality, your mind acts like it has a mind of its own. And this is why people were very convinced that there's a soul here. Because you get to witness your mind move before you move it. There is ways reality moves prior that sometimes I think is this memory? This has to be some sort of cellular or environmental or something. Because think of it this way, I'm this person living my own life here from the beginning of my life, but I have seen so many different lives. Every time a person tells me a sentence, my mind is fathoming the way they're alive, you know, to the degree, and I'm a visual thinker and people don't realize this around me, and it gets frustrating, right? But it's like whenever someone in front of me starts like depreciating themselves or talking negatively about themselves, I'm like, buddy, you're legit creating a film of you being a loser in my mind. Why are you doing this? Why are you projecting in my mind a story where you are miserable in, right? This is why I firmly believe, if I don't have kids, but if I did, I'm like, yo, guys, don't spend a moment talking about what you don't want. Do you know? People find it in common ground, but I feel it's like the lowest form of being human. You know, you find commonality in misery. It's bullshit. You know, we should find commonality in purpose. And what purpose is what this deeper intelligence within you selects out of what it externally and internally has access to. Do you know? There's this saying that they say you become who you needed when you were younger. A part of me was like, nah, man, that's bullshit. And then I was like, wait a minute, do you know? And then I will tell you, like, who I am now is exactly who I needed when I was younger. You see, life is not you go and you're here for a purpose, like to be a carpenter. Life is an experiential journey. It's an accumulation of different sequences of experiences. Like as I'm speaking to you right now, yes, I'm having a physical existence and this is forming as a memory. But prior to this, it's like, okay, it's like, think of it this way. Right now, I'm existing now, here and now in this moment. So it's not a memory, okay? So it means my mind, because this is an actual moment, is perceiving moments over this moment. Okay? The thing is, people think they're just one moment of being. Even though everything simultaneously appears as such. But it is not true. You're living multiple lives. I'm not even being spiritual. This is purely psychological. You're psychologically living a life based on only what you know. And to be normal, oh my God, 100%, there's kids on this planet, they're like, what does it mean to be normal? And I'll be like, when you figure it out, you will laugh harder than you've laughed before in your life, anytime before. You will realize what normality is. All the things that you thought were have to, there's no other option, this is how the system is designed, is actually how humanity does not know any better. That means the results in your life are based on how much you know. And if you're not getting the results, so imagine in my, like let me tell you how easy it is to live a parallel life and then forget it and then dream about it, you know? So I'll tell you something about myself personally. Yes, I am physically existing on Earth right now and all of this, but in my inner realms, because I'm visual, it's a matter of, at least for my intelligence, it's a matter of being like, okay, I can not, like when I can touch a table in front of me and physically feel like the temperature, what it is, touch it, right? But in my inner realms, I cannot touch it. I cannot touch, like I can visualize the same table or I can visualize a different table, but I can't visualize myself even touching it, but I don't feel it. So your mind is access to reality that you can't directly feel, but it is access to reality. That means if I see something and then I close my eyes and still see it, it means that form has been recorded to exist internally. So what this means is that you have been internally living this whole time. And you have been living not as a physical entity behind your eyes. You have been living as a moment of awareness where different scenery has come and gone. It's very difficult for me to say if I've seen the world or I've seen the world, SCENED. That means I've turned it into a scene of meaning. For me, anytime I get overwhelmed by like micro problems or mysteries, I'm like, okay, we gotta go all out. We gotta bring out the big guns. And so that means if I look at something small in my life that doesn't make sense, I'm gonna be like, yo, that's still a part of existence. So what out of existence doesn't make sense? And I will be honest, folks, you don't feel it. You don't, like, I don't know how. Maybe you gotta read a little bit of Wittgenstein or something, but you're gonna realize, you're gonna have this feeling one day on this earth that our species is inside 100% a subjective simulation. And if you're religious, you understand also you're inside an objective simulation as well. What does that mean? It means you are temporarily you. I don't know, but this sort of liminal, eerie feeling of like, wait a minute, what is going on here? You're telling me 8 billion creatures suddenly became so super sophisticated to live in a way completely different from nature? Are you telling me that, like, it's 100% obvious that there is the urge to resurface a pattern within the human intelligence that is not earthly? Do you know what that means? That means all creatures in nature are limited to their environment. Man is that creature in nature who got an awareness to the environment. You don't understand how strangely bizarre, unnatural, mysterious, and unknown this is. That in nature, there was an awareness to nature. That means it's not like a machine that's just happening and the gears are moving. It's a machine that is aware its gears are moving to the degree it can change its gears. We're looking at the complexity or simplicity. We're looking at the quality or what the human experience of existence is. Dreams of forgotten lives is like realizing we're inside simulations, and my body right now, I'm physically inside an elemental simulation, an objective simulation. But what this objective simulation means is another subjective simulation. That means, what is knowing? Have you ever thought about this? How do beings know? How do I know something? Like when I look at this, I'm like, yo, I know what this is. This is a cup. But what am I doing here? I'm saying, yo, I have a subject in my mind, these 3 letters, these symbols, and these symbols are this thing. It's like we are equating subjects to objects. And what's fascinating is human beings have an ability to objectify, and seldom is this said, also subjectify. In the same way, like, you know how there's like, you know, in shows or something, there's like this, you know, attractive women at the bar, and some dude goes up to talk to them, and they're like, don't objectify me, you animal. You know that, like, you know how they say, don't objectify me, don't treat me as just an object. What's bizarre is, what about the other way around? What if somebody says, don't subjectify me? That means, imagine I'm here and somebody comes up to me, it's like, yo man, are you Mr. Within, da 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 da, and I'm like, don't subjectify me. Don't reduce me to a subject that you only see. In the same way, don't reduce me to the value of an object that only you see. $8 billion creatures. I want you to just take this in. Anytime you're confused, just fly into the sky. That's my strategy. Okay? Anytime I'm in any moment that I can't handle, the first thing is to fly into the sky. And somebody's going to be like, Mr. Within, I don't have wings. What do you mean? I'd be like, in your mind. Flying in your mind is very easy. Flying in your, as a mind, is not like you have wings, you know, you're visualizing wings and you're like flying in the clouds. You know, flying in the mind is to realize you are a separate awareness to the event. That means right now there's an existential event happening. I am aware of this existential event, and I'm also aware of the subjective events that are happening. And these words that you're hearing are the completion of the subjective events behind my eyes. So the notion of a forgotten life could be as much as like dreams. Dreams are forgotten inner lives. That's the best explanation of dreams. I think I gave the best definition of a dream. And how many different lives are we living? And to how many people? Imagine one person knows like 10 people, right? That means to 10 people, they are existing as a character in the world story. Right now, I'm existing as a character, and even though like I think my channel may not have that many views, but it fits into, it's like a cornerstone of modern culture. I think I've planted the ideology of my channel, like the design of my channel properly.
If you don't understand the rules of power, you will certainly lose to someone who does.
What are these ads, man? Okay. All right, back to it. So, how many lives are we internally and externally living, or have we lived so far? And is it even possible to feel like you have a past life in this life? It's 100% possible. Me wanting to be a soccer player when I was young, that's a past life now. Now honestly, the only thing I desire, like if they were like, yo, Mr.Within, what gift do you want from like the system admin? My prayers are really just a constant yearning for the mercy of the system admin to advance this system. They're like, yo, man, you visited Earth. How was it like? And I'm like, man, I just wish the most advanced things were happening. I feel I was born too soon. I deeply feel I was born too soon. Because I have nostalgia of the future, not of the past. In the past, I could see archetypes to myself. Like if they're like, yo, man, imagine yourself as a king, I could. They're like, yo, imagine yourself as a medieval like king. I'm like, yeah. And they're like medieval peasant. I'm like, sure. My mind has reached a point where not only is it aware of the simulation of existence, it is also aware how to simulate experience of existence. What does that mean? That means you, this whole time, you probably know, but everybody knows this probably, but like deep down, but you have been living inner lives. And who are we kidding? If 8 billion human beings are living different inner lives than what their outer life actually is, it's honestly just a feeling. It's very, maybe I should say it like this. They tell me, what do you think of the future? It's a feeling. What do I think of the past? It has an equivalent feeling. Forgotten lives were like emotions that could have been. And the mind got close to experiencing it, but the outer realms moved differently.
want to help you master AI content creation this weekend. But first, let me show you what total beginner.
See, guys, the future is going towards AI. Like, it's gonna be weird. In the future, there's gonna be guys who are gonna like come back, and be like, "Yo, I met the most perfect girl," and then, I want to marry this girl, and then the parents are like, "Son, you gotta make sure she's not AI." Can you imagine? Can you imagine, like, the first human being that married an AI? In the future, there's going to be a company called Marriage AI, people are going to marry AI characters. And it's going to be like probably some psychological mental health program. It's like, why live alone when computers can live with you? It's like, yeah, man, I don't like computers that much. I still like to, feel the grass, climb a tree. Remember that I'm nature before we forget our beginning. So, we have dreams of forgotten lives. And these are lives that we saw but never actually externally lived. In my inner realms, you don't understand. Like, I thought by this age I would have this next level, like, real estate property where, like, the top of it was like this giant flat circle, right? And, like, that was my office with, like, a glass window, and I was like inventing stuff there all day. That was like, that's like a parallel life. For example, for me, speaking in front of millions of people, that's a parallel life. And based on really what reality says, it's like this whole time we've been like, yeah, I'm gonna go and do this, and I'm gonna follow my dreams. And then reality is like, excuse me, wake up, bro. Look at where you are. Look at where history is right now. And it's very difficult because what we want may not be from this timeline, this fathomable timeline. When I say timeline, I'm not talking about it in a spiritual way. I'm not talking about multiverse theory. I'm talking about the multiverse ability of the human mind while it's alive to just fathom various realities. Every film I've seen was like being teleported as a sight in the room of whatever that film was about. Little is this, like seldom is this said, but where your attention goes, you become. Do you know who you choose to be around? You become like them, whether you like it or not. It's just the nature of man. It's an adapting creature. So we don't just adapt to a physical environment, we also adapt to psychological environments. You might not know this, like I might be, like this is 100% the case, like maybe nobody has explained it like this, but it's like if I'm talking to someone, just one person, and then a group of people come, it's like automatically what I'm saying gets filtered based on the minds in the room. But right now, when I give these talks, I have no clue who's listening, so it's kind of like I'm just soloing it. But I'm saying, like, it's very different for me based on who is in it. Like, okay, let me say it this way. When you're younger, you're thinking about things. I think when you get older, you don't think per se about things. You watch the presence of reality more than you're like formulating reality before it happens. I am watching the presence of my existence right now. I am watching the presence of that tree. I am watching the presence of that car moving in the street. I am aware how presence is intelligence. like, how do you think it felt when you were like in like some, imagine like some room in a convention, and then Einstein walked in and people were like, no way, is that Einstein in the flesh, you know? And somebody's like, no, it's his chauffeur, you know? There's a story about Einstein, I don't know if people know this, like his chauffeur, like the person who would drive him around, looked exactly like him or something. It was like his doppelganger or something. And then the chauffeur had, like his attendant had heard like Einstein give that same lecture all around like the place, like, you know, the town or something, right? And so the chauffeur was like, yo man, let me give this lecture, right? And so he goes, Einstein wears the chauffeur's clothing and he wears like Einstein's clothing. He goes into a lecture hall where nobody's ever seen Einstein before, and he gives like the exact lecture as Einstein would give it. At the end of it, somebody asks him a very complex question, right? And the guy's like memorized it, he doesn't know what he's actually talking about, right? Like he's on Einstein. So the chauffeur, right? And this is when they asked Einstein who's the smartest person you've met, okay? And the chauffeur was acting as Einstein. Somebody asked him like a next level physics question, and then he looks at him, he's like, young man, that shit is so rudimentary. Do you know that what you're asking is so basic and simple that even my chauffeur can answer, right? And then the chauffeur was actually Einstein, and he answers the question, you know? But when Einstein entered the room, there was like, okay, this is the presence of a human attention that has gone somewhere that no other human attention has. And perhaps that is our value, where we've gone that no one else has. Originally, we're beings that nobody else is. Everybody has a different DNA, kind of like a different barcode. We're all existing in reality, playing the games of civilization. That's the game we're playing. You know, when I was young, I thought I was playing a game called Civilizations on like an old school computer. No. The game of civilization is being played by all of you right now. The moment you started to exist and you have a name and a subjective individualism, you have become a character in this game. You're playing this game. Do you know? And that's the thing. This is why like leaving the system voluntarily too early doesn't make sense, because this is the game. We're now playing the human game. Okay? And there's mysteries, and it's all a simulation and unknown. And nobody's perfect in the middle of this. You know, I firmly believe, like when I give these talks, when somebody enjoys them, it's not that my talk is perfect. I've just been successful in introducing the new, something that hasn't been seen before. This whole channel should be a testament to just how far the mind can see beyond its existence. That means, yes, you are existing, but nowhere has it said you can't see beyond this existence while you're existing. You can't ultimately see beyond, but the mind moves in ways that it's not just changing bodies, it's changing worlds. The mind can legit live a life. You can sleep on your bed, you know, be unconscious, wake up in some simulated dream world, like flying, jumping around, or moving at fast speeds, like inhuman fast speed. And then you wake up and you're like, yo, that was a dream. How are we so casually treating access to a completely different movable reality, a reality we can move in, as just like, yeah, man, it was a dream. The mind was doing it. I'm like, if the mind, hey, if the mind can simulate a dream that is way more advanced than physical life, then physical life is not the limit, the mind is. Our minds are way more advanced than the external existence we have access to every day. What they're doing is more advanced. We are the advancement in the room. Somebody in the questions, in the chat section asked a remarkable question. They're like, yo, MW, is this a void? Like, is this world a type of void? And I'll be like, no, it has content. But the issue, the reason it feels void-like is because you can't get to the bottom of the content. It's like they've given you this problem and they're like, yo, it's an unlimited problem. You cannot see the edge of why existence is like this. But you're in it. What are you gonna do? And it's honestly a question of, I guess, like historic honor. Like, does history want me to live like them? Or does history want me to be a human being that has never been seen before on Earth? That when other human beings see, they're like, okay, this is the creation of a system admin. This is not just the human mind. It is what the human mind is in the presence of. That is the secret. The secret of this life is you will go try solving the puzzle, and then you will see if some parts of it cannot be solved because you cannot see that far. Sorry to break it to everyone, but this whole world, we're acting like it's our world and it's normal. It's a certain range of the electromagnetic field. It's a kept normal world, okay? It's being kept this way. It doesn't mean it is this way. You can dress up a chimpanzee in a tuxedo, but it doesn't mean that's how the chimpanzee was designed. You can clothe mankind in specific ideas and laws, yet it does not, like the true nature roars out. You cannot hide the nature of a species. In the same way, you cannot hide who you are in front of someone you are all the time. And the whole point of it is, I'm like, yo man, you telling me all the prophets and the effort of religions was just to tell people, yo, there's a system admin in this random system you've opened your eyes in. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about that the jurisdiction or what happens in this world is not based on just man-made laws and reasoning, and it's not based on just natural laws, that it seems like this world was commanded into place? If you want to be like super geeky about it, it was programmed into a simulation. You can see the code, you can see the existence abiding by their command of existing. You can see that the atoms are in some sense saluting to that higher power. You can see how moments happen. You can see that anytime you thought somebody was lucky or unlucky, guess what? It was a bigger system on the shoulder of giants. We're talking about luck. It's like it's based on what the giant does. It's like the micro values are based on the micro actualities. And do not get convinced by anyone in this world that it's empty. That is cruel. Like, they're like, yo man, what's the worst form of cruelty? I'll be like, holy shit. The worst form of cruelty is making someone convinced that nothing can be real. What? We are designed to not know nothing. We are creatures of everything. Do you know what that means? That means existence is not designed to not exist. And the consciousness to existence, even if you're conscious of emptiness, it's impossible. You're there. You're still in the room. There's something noticing emptiness. Ta-da! No such thing as emptiness. I understand the Buddha's like, yo man, this object doesn't mean anything. Its nature's empty. People are like giving it meaning. I'll be like, yeah, Buddha, but you don't get it. It's not empty. It's not a matter of, yo, is truth in the room or not? No. Truth is the room. Everything in this room has a commander. You might look at me right now and be like, yo, you don't have a commander, you know? And I'll be like, you don't get it. There is the presence of a power, an original power in this world room, that only if you put down the joystick of worldly desired life. I don't know how to say it. I'm not telling you not to exist. I'm saying it's an internal action. It's like how much you want something. Okay? And if you imagine like the Buddha was some dude who was like, yo man, I don't want anything. Little did he realize where the attention is, it becomes. That means you're in this massive all-you-can-see buffet of perception. Okay, there's so many ways to look at things, and the only thing they should have probably told everyone is that where your attention goes, you become. Now it's your choice. Do you want your attention to go to the most advanced, highest power possible, beyond fathoming? Or do you want it to go into some limited framework in this realm? It's like, yo, man, that guy lifted weights. I'm going to become someone who lifts weights. You know? Or would you rather be like, yo, I'm in a world where there is the presence of the system admin is verified. That means for me, religion was like, is God here? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, that's it. That's all I needed to truly know. That it's here. The system admin is in the room. So do you know what that means? That means the boss of the company is in the company and the employee doesn't have to go to some weird manager. You know, the employee can just meet the boss in the lobby and directly talk to him. You have to, in this life, if you truly believe that there is a higher power, you have to make contact. But you don't make contact with a higher power through exchange. You don't do it like, or let me say it, it's not like you pay a price, or the price you pay to meet the higher power is to truly want to see beyond the lower power. If you're satisfied with existence, why do you need anything? If you're satisfied with a simulation, you've bitten the fruit and you're enjoying it. The dreams of forgotten lives is just being able to in one moment imagine all the ways internally you can be alive, all the things you can do, all the people you can meet. And you're like, okay, my brain can fathom this. It's like my brain can fathom me like managing, you know, the finances of an advanced civilization. Like I can do you know, like I can fathom, like in my mind, I have fathomed building robots. Legit, when I retire, like when I become an old person, I'm gonna be like, all right, guys, I'm gonna go actually invent stuff now, you know. That was my life. Like, if they were like, yo, man, what other life could you have lived better? I'd be like, if I was born and I was like, I'm gonna invent 10,000 inventions. And for some reason, I didn't walk that way. I didn't become that like soccer player inventor I wanted as a kid. Instead, I became someone who looks at the world and shouts into whatever it is. It's like, hey, today it looks like this. Today, this is the depth scan of existence. It's like scanning. Like in the future, can you imagine there's going to be a philosophy robot? You're going to say something and you're like, hey, philosophy robot, tell me, what was scan the levels of depth of what I just said, you know? And that robot's going to be like, all right, what you said was like this level deep, this philosopher said this, that philosopher said that, your idea matches like parallels this. We'll be like, thanks, philosophy robot, now wonder why you exist. And the robot's like, access denied. Yeah, probably like when I get old, it's gonna be like some sort of Pluto anime show ending. I'm gonna be like a professor, you know, trying to like teach AI how to be human. I'm like, yo, man, you need to increase your mistakes by 28%, you know, and then you'll be human enough. So anyways, what do we do with all these lives we've been living in our mind and we have externally avoided and forgotten about? I think it's a matter of learning to smile at what you were. I think this is an important skill. That means like, they're like, yo man, life, sure, there's suffering, but when you look back at it, it's a comedy show. It's like, little did I know, when I look at the past, it's all a giant stand-up comedy, you know? Existence is like telling me jokes, but they're manifesting as my mistakes. To be honest, it's more like you're not living a life, you're given a life. You're given. It's given. It's like programmed in. I could have been like one of those people in those countries that they climb these ridiculously tall like trees that look like palm trees, but they're not palm trees, and they're like, they just climb them and they go and like scavenge like honey from bees or something. Like I could have been born in that kind of environment, but why here? Why am I in that moment where I can notice the future and how weird it can be, and to realize that those who will be born in it can't tell the difference. People have an honor of the moment they started existing, really. What the soul is deeply is my view on it. Firstly, Islamically, the soul is the secret of God, and it is the command of God. That means it's based on God's mercy. It's not like there's no such thing as enlightenment in the Islamic tradition, but enlightenment is the mercy of God to get close to the system admin is the religious approach. And I think it's the correct approach. To contact the system admin, to have a relationship beyond the simulations of your own mind. And the only way to do that, you have to consider the presence of it. You have to consider the presence of a force that is animating the whole system, not just you in the system. I'm like, okay, it's like a giant wave. We're surfing it through with our simulated inner lives. It's like if we don't know what the soul is and we are a soul, it's another way of saying that we don't know what the world is, but we're in a world. And that is the reality. You're seeing not the massive development of archives. You're gonna see that humanity finally discover the hidden libraries of all that it doesn't know. Because you cannot be a scholar if you're satisfied with what you know. It's the unknown that's interesting. It's everything we don't see yet that urges us to go forth. And at the beginning I said I see it as a simulated testing zone. What are they testing? This was a very deep question. I think the answer is also different for everybody, and only God knows the real answer. But I will say, one part of the test is obvious. Do you notice the system, man? Do you notice that you might have felt alone in the world, but the world has never been alone? Existence is codependent to the power that animates it. That power is present. We are present in the same moment where the presence of that which moves everything is. That means we don't know what God looks like as Muslims. We don't understand God's logic. But we do acknowledge that this world is a work of a higher power. And the higher power is beyond human. And the most important theme in religious stories is of faith in the higher power leading to the proper outcome. That's the algorithm we find. It's equivalent to you trusting the system admin of a system, and you're a user in that system. That means it's no way a type of spirituality where the guy's like, oh my God, you're God, I'm God, we're all God, everything's God. And it's like, no, relax. You are not God. Because if you were God, everything could instantly change. So you're not God. If you say you're a spark of God, I will say, why does it matter? Because it's a system's life. Our life is happening inside a massive system's life. That means this world has been designed with such expertise that when the human can't explain it, it's obviously beyond human. It means that before aliens, time travelers, the divine, there's nothing more advanced. If you tell me right now, like if we just go through it, guys, if you analyze it, you're going to see what I'm saying. If right now I told you what is the most advanced thing you can do on this planet, the answer is going to be like, okay, to be the most advanced. But you're going to be like, okay, let's say you can't be the most advanced. What is the most advanced thing you can do next? To be close to the advanced. There is a reason generations of farmers in the agriculture era were like, yo man, even though the Industrial Revolution is like effed up and there's like, you know, young kids in England selling newspapers dressed like 40-year-old men with the character to back it up. It's like at some point you're like, there is obviously a global pattern and urge in the human being to explore and travel to new worlds. That urge is there. We are not satisfied with what we find, and that is the problem with human beings. And even when you think of like relationship dynamics, like human relationships, it's based on the novelty you see every day. It's more than like somebody has to be new all the time. It's like, are you seeing something new all the time or not? You know? And it's like, what context do you activate the moment through? We live many inner lives. We think we're living one outer life. We live behind our eyes, and our inner lives happen faster and are multidimensional. I can tell you to visualize like an apple hovering, and then I can also tell you to visualize an orange hovering. I can tell you to visualize, like, you know, if you were a king, how would you look like? If you were a peasant, how would you look like? Your mind can see parallels, okay? Language has given us an ability to turn life into a story, and then we can in any moment see various stories to that same moment, which are angles of view. All I can say is that, so something the viewers don't know about me, I was gonna give an episode on it, but I'm like ranked League of Legends player, and I want to explain it to you like, yo man, what are noobs doing on Earth, and what do I think the pros are doing on Earth? I think the best players on Earth understand that they need to acknowledge what's in the room. And it's like being, okay, what's in the room of my existence right now? And they come to realize very quickly their limitations, and then wonder about what is there beyond it. And so to me, someone who lives a successful life, I have this inkling, I have this view. I'm not making it a belief. It's not something I believe 100%, but I have a theory that, like, perfection cannot live on Earth. Okay, you cannot be perfect. Okay, which is another way of saying the win-win doesn't exist. Or I shouldn't say the win-win doesn't exist. The ultimate scenario doesn't exist. That means the most advanced state of being, you cannot be that as a human. It's not the most advanced state of being. It's a type of state of being. And it's all, they're like, yo man, what have these creatures been doing here? And I'll be like, they're all looking at it, valuing it, and then they're making decisions that affect it. We have been at the mercy of every person that was born and their value system and how they influenced something that affected all of us. We are so intertwined that it's like, yo man, is like civilization like a beehive? What the like, are we subconsciously as a species being like, yo man, if bees and ants are doing it, you know? To me, I believe the human, this is hard to say, is not like a cat, is a pack animal. I think. What does that mean? It means you're not designed to follow yourself, because you at some point realize yourself is incomplete. Like, okay, if I was my own leader right now, how well could I lead myself? Well, it depends on what I know. Now, this world is a changing system. Every day you wake up in it, and the day happens once, and then you sleep. And then you wake up again. And every day when you wake up, you treat it like, all right, a new day, rather than some long 12,000 day continuity. It's like, am I don't know, there's something deep here. I think people are kind of like taking the comfortable route, all of you. I think even me, I'm not taking the most I'm taking just a route enough to be like, yo man, I'm seeing this, what do we do about it? But at the same time, again, there is no perfect person here. That means the same mind that can fathom perfect things I can do, it can also, it's seen even the imperfect things I do, like my imperfections. But at some point you have to be like, what is more important? The story I tell myself, the stories others tell me, or what story am I actually in? Like, yo, in the middle of everybody giving me advice, I am existing in a world right now. I am here now. I am present. I have a way of looking at things that no one else does. What is the value to what I only can see? That means like all these talks I'm giving, these are like views that just came across my mind. I could have not given them and lived a silent life. Why the urge to share? And it's simply because a part of me understood the human value is limited. I am here just for some time and then I leave. What then? Nobody's gonna know I existed. And what's the point of me existing, like privately, and history not witnessing it? Like, what's the point of that? And I was like, man, we gotta talk here. You know, it's no longer like the war, the skill in battle is like more talking than. It's like, yo, man, it's not the bravest among you, it's those among you with the least social anxiety, and all the stumbling fools are like, I got this. I don't know. I think because I've mastered the art of hating myself. I've also mastered the art of loving myself. And it's very easy. I just don't, like a museum where you don't touch the stuff you see. I don't touch the ideas I have even on myself. They're not really things. It's like the moment you realize there's a greater intelligence than you in the room, you're like, okay, I gotta slow down here. What does the system admin want from me? What was the original command of my soul as a Muslim, and those who opt into theology? God commanded man into existence. That's a clue. That's a theological clue. That God commanded existence and it was. And God commanded the existence of man, and it was. And God commanded that man learn all the divine names, and he did. God commanded man to express himself, present, perform in front of all creation. Do you understand? This urge of us wanting to be performers and people who share the inner realms, we were designed for that. We have experience in that. Theologically, God created man's soul and then told him to demonstrate, like showed off the soul to all of existence. And all of existence didn't bow to man. They bowed to the greatness of the system admin that created man. Except one moderator who was confused. And destinies got intertwined. Now in the middle of trying to return back to the system admin, we have this old demiurge or this this moderator that wants to see mankind fail because it failed because of retaliating against us. It's like somebody blaming someone, and then the punishment happens to them, and they're like, yo, if I'm going to get punished because of that, I'm going to punish that. That means it's like an instantaneous celestial grudge against the human soul by a being. And that being has been allowed. That means I was like, yo, when I was younger, I think the thought arose that I was like, why did God not forgive man right away Why did God not forgive and reform Shaitan? And why was there a test? What is the point of this game between the system admin and the mod that we are central pieces? We're like chess pieces. It's like two options. Do you go towards the system admin or do you go towards a demented mod? And that's the test. The test is to be like, do we identify with the original source of our being, or do we identify with the simulated source of our being? And this thing I'm saying, the most people, you don't understand, like rich people, like billionaires, they don't need to get physically saved. They're physically fine. They need to get internally saved, because I haven't experienced that level of power, but my mind has fathomed like who I would be in a sci-fi universe as the head of an armada, you know? Like, and I can tell you that responsibility right now, you probably are responsible for yourself. Imagine being responsibility for the totality of existence. The reason they said kings were like, after like holy people were like, you know, closer to God, was because it didn't matter the king was like effed up or not. It was about the responsibility of identifying with a consciousness that says, this is my kingdom. Every being, that means the responsibility level of a God is unfathomable, and yet it is conducted. It's like a being that makes no mistakes, nothing more beautiful. Now, contrary to Christianity, in Islam, Shaitan is not an angel, he's a jinn. And angels were made from light. Man was made from clay. And in some sense, jinn were made from a smokeless flame. And there isn't much said about their history, but I think they are those that came before us that failed. It's weird. It's weird that there's other things than man here. Like if it was just man, I'd be like, okay, the test is of man. But it's like there's other beings here. And what does that mean? Other ways that reality is moving forth. For me, I was like, okay, you have 8 billion humans on Earth. What do they do? How do they unite? And I was like, all right, man, just not trying to think like a professor, just relax. I was like, yo, man, it would be so cool to be in an advanced civilization. Everything is advanced. It doesn't mean there isn't mistakes or chaos. It just means everything is happening in a more advanced way. Like right now, I'm giving this talk through like my phone and a laptop. A more advanced version of it would be like phones in the future being like this small sphere that hovers in the air and follows you around, and I just tell the sphere like, yo, man, I'm gonna record a podcast, and it just sets everything up. And then I'm like, yo, sphere, get out of here, and the sphere goes away, you know? To be honest, I think we are intelligent beings to make the whole world intelligent. I think this is the main goal, which fits into the idea of an advanced civilization. I think even though in the Holy Quran it has said God has wiped out sinners, like people, like civilizations that sinned, but to me, I'm like, yo, in the Holy Quran it also says that man is here as a Khalifa, as an ambassador of the higher power. You're not just any soul. You are a soul that has system admin privileges. That privilege is this intelligence we are being. And by being something that is nowhere else in existence, the obvious answer is, in some sense, to be it everywhere. So I will tell you, the human being is a type of being that is here to copy paste itself. The urge to continue what has been accumulated. Because who does history belong to? That means imagine we bring all the professors who are giving lectures on Martin Luther King, and we're like, how many of you know Martin Luther King? And only 2 of them, imagine, out of hundreds know, out of thousands know. So it's as if we don't really know, and the eyes are double-edged. Double-edged eyes. You can see when your eyes are still closed. That's proof that it's not just a physical reality. They're like, close your eyes, you know, and you won't see anything. Not true. 100% not true. They fooled us. They made us believe that if we close our eyes, we stop seeing. And then we have dreams when our eyes are closed. Like, how hilarious is that? Why, even from a secular perspective, why should there in the middle of nowhere be such a sophisticated engine of a brain? Why? It's like, yo, nature did it. What? Then you're considering another agent. Pretty much the game is we're the main agent or something else is the main agent. And it's 100% clear we're not the main agent. Okay. And it's like, yo, man, it's like pretty much I wanted to build an advanced civilization, and I feel like the system admins are like, buddy, before you can build this advanced civilization, you have to get people to know the most advanced. And I'm like, oh, that's true. If you don't have access to the most advanced power, how can you be the most advanced power? And if they're like Mr.Within, are you a type of person that will sacrifice anything for the system, for the advancement of civilization? I'll be like, no. Let me tell you why. Because I'm not willing to make a soul deranking or depreciating decision. The actual game is not like how healthy your body was, or how healthy, your mind was. The actual game is if you can go through this life with a sound heart. It's your heart. It's the deeper you that is being tested on how much it buys into thinking it's the non-deeper you. There is the terms exoteric, what's on the surface, and esoteric, what is in the depth. You have the surface of the ocean that defines the ocean, and you have the depth of the ocean that is the ocean, that holds the meaning of the ocean. So to me, like, my body is like the surface of my life. What is experiencing this whole moment is the depth of the ocean, and it's looking at the contents within my awareness. What else can I do? My eyes have opened. All I can do is look at the sky and be like, what am I? How far? How much of this am I not seeing? Why am I at the responsibility level of just being responsible for one biological body? One existential moment. One test. How low was my rank? That the responsibility level is just a moment. The greater games, I think this is the hidden yearnings of, generals the world never saw. But it's all about abiding by the original command of your being. So you can see so many different parallel lives internally. You could be living a certain external life, but you cannot ignore like the atmosphere of a world, the depth of it all. And at some point, you will realize the unknown. And that's when you might be like, yo, this guy's talks are interesting. Because it's too easy to act like what we've seen before. It is the performance of a lifetime, the soul of man. It may be the extension of the soul of Adam, who knows? But the soul of man was designed as, in some sense, how do I say it, as an honorable position in existence. It's not about good or bad, it's like what form of position have you entered? The secret to the success of all games is positioning. And more than I'm here trying to live a successful life, I'm like, okay, how do I position myself for the future that I have no choice but to enter? Behind my eyes, God knows I have. In front of my eyes, I am in the museum of matter. So my approach is the smile of honor towards all the lives that we saw but never lived. It's like saluting them for their service to whatever I am now. Behind my eyes, it seemed easier. In front of my eyes, it was way harder. And so now I stand in a moment, glowing with whatever I am now. The witness, the living conscious witness to history. It is not about just the existence of existence. It's about the experience of existence and how that is existing to an intelligence that has to choose out of all the external and internal pathways. What decision shall be made where it's like the synchronistic flight of like two wings of a bird, the external and inner reality fly, even though not perfect, but the sky seems so. Thank you for listening. And getting to know the system admin is the most important thing. And I'll post the background music so people can see what it is. It all goes back to the system admin. I think getting to know the system admin is the smartest thing a being can do. It's like it's not my house. I've appeared in some being's house, and I gotta figure out why I'm being here. And the answer seems to be like a long lifetime, but at the same time, why am I present in the presence of the absolute? Why are we all present in a room where the system admin is watching this divine surveillance state? Because we don't know what is truly looking through our eyes. It's a secret. But get to know the system admin. It is the most incredible thing that can be done in the human lifetime. Thank you for listening. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, and the most advanced.